Turn with me to the book of Second Chronicles. Second Chronicles chapter 7. Second Chronicles chapter 7. And this afternoon, I want to talk about God craves for our worship. God craves for our worship. He's literally, we all crave for things, right? We crave for ice cream, we crave for biryani, we crave for pizza, we crave for bike and car, and we crave for a lot of things in life. You know what does God crave for? All He craves for is your worship. Doesn't want your money, doesn't want your property, really doesn't want your talent also. You can keep all of that. There's only one thing that He craves for, and that's your worship. It's only one thing He craves for. And you know what we're doing? You know what we're doing? What one thing He wants, we're taking away that from Him. And we're giving Him all the things that He doesn't want. We're giving Him money. We're giving Him our time. We're giving Him our talent. And we're saying, I don't think I want to do worship to you. And God's saying, no, that's actually what I want. I only want that. You keep the rest. Everything you can keep, enjoy it. This belongs to me. Listen to me very carefully. This morning I want to make something very clear to us. And we've been making a lot of mistakes in our life. Think about it. We've been giving to God things that don't matter to Him. And we've been taking away from God the most important that matters to Him. Let me give you a simple example. At home, with your family, if you buy them, Sunita was happy this morning, blessed, bought her a gold ring. Wonderful. Great brother. I think every brother should be like that, buying gold rings for their sisters and their family. Let's imagine, let's take this story, and Blessing bought gold ring and silver, bought ice cream, bought pizza for the family, and told Mom, don't cook, I'll get a servant full time. You just relax, Mom. Told his Dad, why are you going by this? I'll get you a wonderful, beautiful foreign car. Let's say Blessing got all those things happening for his family, and he just doesn't respect anybody at home. How's that? Let's just say Blessing says, listen, don't expect me to respect you guys and all that. That alone I won't do. Ask whatever you want. I'll buy it. How's that sounding for an offer? How's that sounding for an offer? Think about it. Selling, name it, I'll give it to you. Ask of it, I'll buy it for you. No waiting time. Next day it'll come. Don't ever tell me, respect me. That's not going to happen with me. Wow. Do you think his family is actually going to enjoy whatever he's buying and give away respect? I think we know the answer. Probably his family is going to say, Kanna, konja vibe de. Keep all of that. We don't want anything. You can keep everything and enjoy it. This one we want. We live, we breathe, we survive with respect. I have a friend in Salem, Simon. And there's been a lot of issues with his property, and his son is saying, give me this, give me that. And a few days back, he called me and he said, Anna, my dad is so hurt and angry with my son. And why do you think his dad is angry and hurt with his son? Because my dad only wants one thing in his life. He wants respect. He's not bothered about anything else. Says, take money, take property, take all this and go. I care a damn about all this. Don't play around with my respect. Don't play around with my respect. And if you play around with my respect, I know what I want to do to you and to the kids. Wow. You see, that's exactly what we're doing to God. We have no problem to take out our wallets and our checkbook and give God the money. No problem. Sometimes we do have a problem in that also. That's a little different kind of problem. And we'll buy something for the church. We'll buy for the poor. We'll take care of the poor. We'll come and help with worship. We'll clean the church. We'll do ministry. We go outreach. But when it comes to personal time of worship to God, we have a problem with that. We have a problem with that. And God's saying, all what you've been giving to me doesn't make me happy at all. I appreciate you. I appreciate whatever you've given to me. I'm happy for that. But I'm not satisfied with that. I'm happy with that, but I'm not satisfied. What satisfies my hunger and my thirst, what satisfies my craving is only your worship. Don't take away that from me. That's what this chapter is talking about. So, 2 Chronicles chapter 7 says, when Solomon finished praying, 2 Chronicles 7 from 11 onwards. 2 Chronicles 7, 11 onwards. But you can also go home and read from verses 1. You'll get a whole glimpse of it. 2 Chronicles 7 from 11 onwards. 11, and we'll finish off at the last verse, 22. So 2 Chronicles 11 says, so Solomon finished the temple of the Lord as well as the royal palace. He completed everything he had planned to do in the construction of the temple and the palace. Then one night the Lord appeared to Solomon and said, I have heard your prayer and have chosen this temple as the place for making sacrifices. At times, listen, look at verse 13. I love verse 13. Most of us would never like verse 13, but I love verse 13. Look at what it says. At times, I might shut up the heavens so that no rain falls, or command grasshoppers to devour your crops, or send plagues among you. Solomon, at times this is what I'm going to do. I'm telling you in advance what I'm going to do to you. Then, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sins and restore their land. My eyes will be open and my ears attentive to every prayer made in this place. For I have chosen this temple and set it apart to be holy, a place where my name will be honored forever. I will always watch over it, for it is dear to my heart. As for you, if you faithfully follow me as David your father did, obeying all my commands, decrees, and regulations, then I will establish the throne of your dynasty. For I made this covenant with your father David, when I said, one of your descendants will always rule over Israel. But if you or your descendants abandon me and disobey the decrees and commands I have given you, and if you serve and worship other gods, then I will uproot the people from this land that I have given them. I will reject this temple that I have made holy to honor my name. I will make it an object of mockery and ridicule among the nations. And though this temple is impressive now, all who pass by will be appalled. They will ask, why did the Lord do such terrible things to this land and to this temple? And the answer, will be because his people abandoned the Lord, the God of their ancestors who brought them out of Egypt, and they worshiped other gods instead and bowed down to them. That is why he has brought all these disasters on them. Wow. Did you get the point? Can you imagine God saying, I will destroy this temple that I built? Did you know how many years it took Solomon to build that temple? 20 years. 20 years to build that temple and his palace. If you read, as I said, if you read the beginning of that chapter 7, and if you go to verse 4, let me just read. I was so inspired by this portion. It says, then the king and all the people offered sacrifices to the Lord after they built the temple. They went and offered, it was a consecration. They offered to the Lord. Listen nicely. King Solomon offered a sacrifice of 22,000 cattle and 120,000 sheep. Hello? You heard that number? King Solomon offered 22,000 cattle. You know what is cattle? It's not pigeon. He's talking about buffaloes, cows, camels. 22,000 was his offering to the inauguration of the temple, and 120,000 sheep and goat. That's 120,000. 120,000 is 120,000. What was the biggest offering that you have given the Lord? With counting or without counting? Have you heard any king or rich person or politician give this kind of stuff to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? You see what I'm saying? This guy is a smart guy. He didn't calculate. Just gave. You see, it says here in verse 11, Solomon finished the temple of the Lord and as the royal palace. He completed everything at plan. It says, this is what God spoke to him. It says, then one night the Lord appeared to Solomon and said this. Listen to me. After 20 years of building a temple, it's not a joke. There's a lot of money involved there. After 20 years of building, after all that money, beautiful, fancy temple, then 120,000 of the sheep and 22,000 cattle, all that. Listen to me. I'm building up the story. Solomon and all the people gave all this to God. And what God's saying? Hey, guys, listen. I like all the fancy stuff that you've done. But if you don't worship me, I will break this temple. The 20 years of your time, energy, and money, your 22,000 sheep and your 1 lakh, all that stuff, I will destroy it. Now listen to me carefully. Listen to me. You and me must be thinking, hey, 20 years, look at the money, look at the offering. God, this is not fair. Well, it is fair because all he craves and wants is only your worship, not your offerings and your temple. Get that very clear today. Get it clear into your brain, into your soul, into your body, into your bloodstream, into your nerves, and into every bone of your body. Get this clear. Keep all the stuff with you. Your tithe, your offering, your temple, all your money, your jewelry, keep it all. It is all a free gift from God to you. Don't take away his worship. Period. For some reason, today we think that we are great people if we do God things. I gave to God's ministry. I did for God's ministry. I served God's ministry. I dedicated my son to God's ministry. Crap. All crap. Sorry for the language. Crap. Dustbin. God saying, I'll break it. Don't want any of that stuff. I want my worship. My worship is mine. Remember the story of blessing his parents? They want their respect. They don't want the blessings. God wants his worship. He doesn't want your offerings. Just remember only that. We are not doing God a favor, church. We're not. God's doing us a favor by inviting us to this place of worship so that we can be blessed through him. But for us to be blessed through him, he says, my worship to me, all blessings to you. Don't meddle and mess around and tamper with his worship. I don't know what that would mean to you. I don't know how you would translate that to yourselves. That's left up to you. If you are robbing God of his worship, knowingly or unknowingly, deal with it. Deal with it. Sometimes we don't know we are robbing God of worship. I get very angry when I see Christian people worshiping pastors and bishops and prophets and prophetesses and worship leaders, and I get mad. I get very angry because that belongs to my Father in heaven, not anybody on earth. Not anybody on earth. And that's the reason why we are not blessed, church. You think some preacher and pastor is some great guy, do everything for him, buy everything for him, give him all your money, give him all your time, give him all your respect, give him all your love, and he dumps you. That's what he will do. He'll dump you. That's who human beings are. I'm talking about myself this morning. I'm not talking about anybody else. I'm talking about myself. You give what belongs to God to me, I'm going to dump you tomorrow. Open confession. You give everything that belongs to God to me, I will dump you because that's my nature. Get that straight. Don't play with God. Don't play with God. The rest of your life you'll have to play with the results and the consequences. I know people who have been playing with God. I know people. I know what's happening to them right now when they're playing with God. It's dangerous to play with God. Don't do that. I'm begging you this morning, don't do that. It's very clearly stating here. God's telling Solomon, I want to tell you something here clearly, buddy. Thank you for being a great servant of mine. All that is good. Look what he says here. 2 Chronicles 7 from verse 11 onwards. 2 Chronicles 7:11. I have heard your prayers and have chosen this temple as the place of making sacrifices. At times I might shut up the heavens, Solomon, so that no rain will fall. Or command grasshoppers to devour your crops, or send plagues among you. Solomon, I am going to bring problems to your life is basically what he's saying. Would you still worship me? Remember the story of Job? It always dawns on me, what in the world is God having to do and talk with the devil about another guy? God is actually talking to the devil and having this discussion and saying, you know my son. And the devil saying, yeah, I know him, but do you know him? And he's saying, okay, go test him. Let me see what happens. God is talking with the devil to go and attack that guy. For what? He wants to prove to the devil who that son of his is to him. That's his point. He's craving worship. He's craving respect. He's craving love. Nothing else he wants. It says, I will bring these plagues. Then if my people who are called by my name, listen, the verse after that verse 14, it says, after I bring all these plagues and these calamities and problems on your life, look what God's saying. He says, then, when, after I do all this, then if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, I will hear from heaven and forgive their sins and restore their land. He's telling what he's going to do. He's telling what you have to do after what he's going to do. And he's telling, after you do what he tells you to do, what he will give you when you do that. There's no riddles and there's no hidden agenda here. Very straightforward message from the God of heaven and earth. He's not playing games with us. He's giving us advance notice. He's telling, Julian, next month, I'm going to do something that you don't like. And Julian must be, don't tell me only, you do it, just do it, don't tell me. No, I want to tell you. So you can prepare yourself to hear what I'm going to tell you. And then when it happens, you'll know, I told you and I will protect you if you follow this. What a decent God. What a decent God for coming in advance and telling us. But we still don't want to give him his worship. We give him his money. We'll give him talent. We'll give him the firstborn child of the house. Kerala's got a culture. Correct me if I'm wrong. One person of the family is dedicated to missions. Have you heard that? In Kerala, there's a culture. One person of the family is sent for God's work. And they think that God is very happy. Yes, he's happy. He's happy. But he's not happy if that one person takes away his worship. That doesn't please him. You can give your whole family to God and say, I dedicate my whole family. And if you're not giving God the worship, then you've wasted your time dedicating your family to God. It says, then I will restore Solomon their land if they humble themselves and they turn their ways. My eyes, verse 15, my eyes will be open and my ears attentive to every prayer made in this place. Solomon, my eyes and ears will be open to every prayer made in this place, provided I get my worship. Provided I get my worship. I don't want the gifts and the offerings. Keep all of that. That's not my part of life. That doesn't excite me. For I have chosen this temple and set it apart to be holy, a place where my name will be honored forever. Solomon, my name is going to be honored here forever. I've set this apart. I will always watch over it, for it is dear to my heart. Solomon, I'm very grateful to you. This temple is very dear to my heart. I will always love this and remember this. But, Solomon, there's something more that I want to tell you. As for you, if you faithfully follow me as David, your father did, obeying all my commands and decrees and regulations. Listen, obeying all my commands, decrees, regulations. Did you know those 3 words are very big words? That's not a joke. Those 3 words are pretty serious, very serious, strong words. If you follow my commands, decrees, and regulations, then I will establish the throne of your dynasty. For I made this covenant with your father David when I said, one of your descendants will always rule over Israel. But, if you or your descendants abandon me, what is it to abandon God? How is it possible to be abandoned God? What is the process involved in abandoning God? Think about it. In what ways do we abandon God? We're coming to church every Sunday. We're blessing God. We're worshiping. We're singing. We're loving. We're reading the Bible. We're going for prayer meetings. We're going for fasting prayer. We're helping in church ministry. We're involved. How are we abandoning God? In what way? But if you and your descendants abandon me and disobey the decrees and commands I have given you, and if you serve and worship other gods, then I will uproot the people from this land that I have given them, I will reject this temple that I have made holy to honor my name. I will make it an object of mockery and ridicule among the nations. And though this temple is impressive now, I like that. It says, Solomon, even though this is one big fancy Taj Mahal, it doesn't matter to me. I will break it. It's very impressive now, Solomon. Don't be impressed by this big building here. That's not at all impressing me. This temple is impressive now, and though this temple is impressive now, all who pass by will be appalled. They will ask, why did the Lord do such a terrible thing to this land and to this temple? What a sad testimony if that happens. Listen, when God says, I will uproot from all this land and give them all, I will reject this. But he says, if you serve and worship other gods, that's going to frustrate me. What do you mean by serve and worship other gods? And sometimes we translate that serve and worship other gods as literally maybe other gods. Yes, that's true. That's true. We serve and worship other gods. Literally, that definitely God doesn't want us to do. But for us, for most of us, we don't go that route. Listen, we don't go serving and worshiping other gods. But what are the other gods in your life apart from the gods that this Bible is talking about? Your education, your money, your talent, your ego, your pride, your culture, all that is other gods. And if you hold on to that and worship that, not knowing that those have become your gods, you're in deep trouble with this verse here. That's why God says, I will break this. I'll break this. When God gives you money and popularity and fame and name and prosperity, and when he gives you all these things, it is not meant for you to worship that. It is not meant for you to worship that. It is not meant for you to take pride in that. You still take pride in the God of your life, and you worship only the God of the heavens and the earth, Jehovah Yahweh. That's the only God we worship. It says, you be careful if this happens to you. And the answer, verse 22, and the answer will be, because his people abandoned the Lord, the God of their ancestors, who brought them out of Egypt, and they worshipped other gods instead and bowed down to them. That is why he has brought all these disasters on them. What is the other gods in your life? What are the other gods in your life? Sometimes we take such pride in our beauty, in our looks, in our dressing. Sometimes we take such pride in the hair that we have or the skin tone that we have. We worship our skin tone. Wow. We worship our clothing. We worship our car. We worship our jewelry. We take pride in these things. That's the other gods. Be careful. That's the other gods. Be careful. Listen, you don't have to put something in front of you and say, oh, I worship you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. I worship you. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that to call that a God. You don't have to do that. Your heart and mind holding on to something and valuing that more than God is worshiping that. What is one of the 10 commandments? What is one of the 10 commandments? Thou shalt love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. and don't worship anything else. Is all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind there or here? Where is it? Where is it? If it's on something else more valuable to you than God is, that is your other God. Be careful. You don't have to go in front of a stone or an idol and say, oh, no, I'm not doing this. No, you're not doing that. Definitely you're not doing that. You're smart. You're smart not to do that. But you're not smart enough to say, my jewelry just took the place of God in my life last week. You're not smart enough to say that. You're not smart enough to say, oh, I love my son more than I love God. You're not smart enough to say that or realize that. You're not smart enough to say, wow, look at this building. I built it. You're not smart enough to understand that you just made your building your God. But you're smart enough not to go in front of an idol and say, I'm not worshiping the idol. Of course you're not worshiping the idol. But your jewelry, your salary, your education, your house, your entire, all around you has become your God. That's big enough trouble for you not to be blessed by God. That's big enough. Be careful. Be careful. God is very clearly in this passage telling Solomon, I will break it, Solomon. What you built, I will break. In fact, God's actually in this passage saying, I will break what I built. He's actually telling Solomon, don't think you built it, I only built it. He's not telling Solomon, I will break what you built. He's telling, I will break what I built. So God doesn't have a problem to break what he built, because he craves for worship. Worship to him is greater than anything else that you can ever imagine to offer God. I'd rather have all of us not focus on offering him things, but focus on worshiping him. Don't bother to offer God things. Don't focus on that. Focus on the most important, worship to God. Remember Matthew 6:33? Seek first the kingdom and all will be added. That's exactly what 2 Chronicles 7 is talking about. Don't focus on what you want to give to me, Solomon. Focus on what I like. I like this. Focus on that. You know, if you prioritize, let me finish with this. If you prioritize worship that God craves for, listen carefully. If you prioritize worship that God craves for, then everything else that you give him will be absolutely tasty to God. If you prioritize worship that he wants, everything that you've given to him will be so tasty for him that he will love everything you offer to him, because you never took away his worship. But by chance, if you take away his worship and offer your whole savings and your house and your family, he says, I will break it. I don't want it. Conclusion. It's a horrible conclusion, but let's get real. Let's get practical. You rather keep all of that things that you're giving to God. Listen to me. I don't think as a pastor anybody would say this, but I want to say this. I want to be very practical. You rather keep all your money, your jewelry and all that. Keep it. Don't give it to God. And don't bother about worship. At least you won't lose what you have. At least you can keep what you have. But don't give all this what you have and don't worship him. You'll even lose what you give. Did you understand what I said? If you give God money and jewels and house and your son and your daughter and everything, and didn't worship him, you've lost everything that you gave him. Loss for you. But if you didn't give all that and also didn't worship him, at least you don't lose what you've not given. Did you get the point? Did you get the point? I'm trying to help you to save what you worked hard for. Horrible advice from a pastor this morning. But at least save something. Don't lose everything. You give everything and don't give worship, you lost the everything. You don't give anything and even don't worship, you didn't lose anything. But you lost your soul. You lost your soul and you lost what God has to give to you in terms of what he has kept for you. Be careful what you're trading with. Be very careful. Don't mess your life up. You lose spirituality, you lose physical things, you lose emotional things, you lose everything. Because you compromised with the most important thing that God craves for. If you want to give God extra bonuses, be careful to give him his worship first. Then he will love your extra gifts. Don't give the extra gifts and take away the worship. Big loss for you. Be very careful with that. He's very clear about that. Focus on the most important. Don't focus on anything else. From the beginning, God has only loved worship. From the beginning, he's only loved worship. There's nothing else that he wanted. I always take us back to the Garden of Eden. When God created Adam and Eve, what God wanted from them? What did God want from them? Did he create Adam and Eve and say, Adam, after you multiply, build one church for me, be the pastor, let Eve do Sunday school, you be pastor, and make more pastors and make more buildings so that there'll be... Did God ever say that to Adam? Was that God's agenda? No, only one agenda. Adam, you are mine. I created you so that I can have friendship and fellowship with you. I want to talk to you every day. I want to be your friend. And I want you to just worship me. That's all I want, Adam. Everything is free. You don't have to work. You don't have to earn. Everything is at your hands, your doorstep. Adam wanted to work hard. He didn't want to work smart. Have you heard this terminology? Don't work hard, work smart. We go, and we'll get 10 rupees. Some guys are sitting down and ordering everybody and getting 1 lakh. Few days back in the bathroom, I was just thinking, I know some people who keep ordering me and making money. And I'm going like an idiot and I'm not getting even 20% of what they're getting. Don't work hard, work smart. God wanted Adam to work smart, not hard. But Adam decided, I'll work hard, God, it's okay. Now, he never only decided that for him, he gave that blessing to us also. Today, without working hard, stomach is burning. Right? You ask anybody why you're working, stomach. They'll say for stomach we're working. What a shame that is, isn't it? Isn't it a shame we're working for our stomach? That's such a shame, working for your stomach. Better not to have a big stomach. Have a small stomach. You can work a little less hard. Big stomach means you have to work more hard to fill the big stomach. What an insult to humanity. Who caused that? Mr. Adam. That was not the offer from God. The offer was, Adam, enjoy life in Eden, man. I'll come in the evening, let's have some chat together. One evening he came, boys are hiding. What a disaster. What a disaster. Today, same thing we are doing. We are also hiding. We do something, we start hiding. God saying, hello, where are you? Wait, God, 1 minute, I'm in the toilet, I'll come back. Hiding. Everywhere we are hiding because we are doing the same things that Adam has done. Don't work hard with God, work smart. He wants you to have the best. You don't have to work hard. Just worship Him. Give Him His craving. God craves for our worship. Give Him that. And you will be the happiest person of your life, and He'll be the happiest God that you have ever known and had. Let's all stand.